I would like to introduce myself. I'm running for U.S. Congress District 16, Texas. So I'm here because I'm really interested to run against Veronica Escobar and to bring the best as we can for our district number 16. I am already an elected official that I represented education. I'm a board member. And I'm always vigilant for the education of our children, for the good revenue. I'm always managing thousands and millions of money budget allocated for education. So also I'm here because I would like to fight for veterans. If there's some veterans here, please a big applause to them. Thank you. And of course, pro-life, pro-family. So thank you very much, and I would like to pass the microphone to my next colleague.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony.
First and foremost, thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us here tonight. My name is Anthony Aguero, and I'm running for District 16 of Congress in El Paso. The reason I'm running is because I was born and raised here. I was able to recognize how quickly our city is changing, and not in a good way. We're quickly spiraling out of control, and there's something needs to be done. We can no longer sit by idly allowing these leftist socialists to continue to destroy our city. Upon being elected, one of the first things that I want to be a voice for is us leaving the United Nations. I believe that giving so much money to the United Nations and them turning around and stabbing us in the back with it is really something illogical. It's something that's been forthcoming, and I think more people need to be more vocal about it. There's currently Mr. Mike Rogers out of Alabama that has put forth a bill, HR 204, which is the Restoring American Sovereignty Act, and that's actually still sitting on the House floor. Nobody's voted on it, and that's something that I would like to co-sponsor along with him. I feel that our Border Patrol agents here locally are overworked, underpaid, and it's time for somebody to be a voice for these guys and do something and secure our borders. Many of you guys that are familiar with me know that I am a strong border advocate, and if we don't have borders, we don't have a country. It is impartial. It is extremely important for the sovereignty of our nation, for the greater good of this country, and for future generations to come, to stop the drug flow, to stop the sex trafficking and child trafficking and human smuggling that is happening currently on our southern borders. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Because of legal issues, I will not be participating, but I look forward to seeing you guys next week at the next debate. God bless you.
Let me put my clock here really quick. All right, how's everyone doing? Good? All right, good. I like to hear that. My name is Jaime Arriola. I've been a nurse for the last 10 years, and I'm real excited to come down here to share my ideas of my political campaign. So I've been a nurse for 10 years. I'm a small local business owner. I'm actually a local farmer as well. I've been a first-generation American. Both of my parents immigrated from Mexico legally, and now they're very successful, and I love to bring those stories out. Not only that, I'm bilingual, I'm fluent in both languages, and I actually was born and raised here in El Paso in the Lower Valley. I still go out a lot in the Lower Valley and like to volunteer a lot of my time down there. Right now I'm doing home health. I've been doing home health for the last 4 years. And how many of you guys know someone, or you yourself have been denied medical service that you deeply needed to be able to get to that moment? I'm sure many people can say yes. And that is something that is concerning. That is something that's happening on a daily basis. But yet we don't talk about it. We don't see politicians bringing this up. Yes, we're talking about funding foreign wars. We're talking about sending foreign funding somewhere else. But we're not talking about taking care of the American people. For example, I had a patient. This patient is unable to eat. So she had to get nutrition through her IV. The insurance said, you know, we're going to medically deny you that. And now you are going to be required to pay $1,900 every week if you don't want to see your mother starve to death. So yes, we aren't allowed to kill people, but insurances have been given the power to do so. And we need to ensure that we fight that off. Not only that, but VA services are something that are detrimental. I worked at Beaumont for almost 4 years, and one of the things I noticed is that we have the funding to be able to provide services, but the bureaucracy is so bad that it prevents us from giving the services to the people who actually need it. We need better integration of technology to ensure that we can take care of those people who did not question 1 minute when we asked them for the help to protect our country. Not only that, but we need to fight off this socialist idea that's being pushed in our country. We need to make sure we protect the American dream and we protect our infrastructure and our country first before anyone else. The idea as a small business owner of paying someone $15 an hour, it is crazy to think that that would be something they are suggesting, because I wouldn't be able to keep my business. And small businesses are the blood flow of our country. We need to ensure that we continue to flow with the idea of capitalism as our priority. We need to get young conservatives to be elected, and we need to remove career politicians from our country. We need to make sure we get rid of them. Not only that, we need to get young people who are going to fight for our dreams out there, and we need to make sure that we better protect our country throughout our borders, not just the southern, but every border, to ensure that we better fund our law enforcement officers and our border patrol agents. Thank you so much, and I hope to get more answers. Thank you. Have a great day.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. This is one of the fuller houses I've seen for the Republican Party, so that's an awesome thing that we're starting to come back together as a party. And that's necessary right now to fight off Veronica, because if you look at all the stuff she's done up there, which is absolutely nothing. I mean, she hasn't. She's sponsored 3 bills. She just sponsored a bill, 5383, that takes a whole bunch of power away from us. I would recommend everybody read through the bill because it's long and drawn out. But they're calling it the New Way Forward Act. It's definitely not the New Way Forward. It will lead to open borders. We must close our borders or protect and defend our country. Without borders, we don't have a nation. And that's anywhere in the world. That system only applies to the United States. That applies here. One of the issues that I also see around here is that we have no VA hospital. And a lot of people don't realize that. We have a VA clinic. And what we're finding out now is that that VA clinic, or those VA clinics, are being used to treat illegal immigrants that are being detained. Yes, I have the documentation, I've said it, I've read it, and this is exactly what is happening here. And what we have goes back as far as the 19th of December, 2019, just after Veronica came into office. So, VA is one of my biggest things. Being a disabled veteran, I would like to see us have full-scale services here in El Paso, and that's one of my biggest priorities, because we're not being taken care of. And then when we see this happen, where we have illegal aliens being treated over veterans, their appointments are being canceled to see these people. And we have a hard enough time getting appointments as it is. Even when we go to the choice program, it still takes several days, which is going away, when we go out and see an outside provider. So these are things that are near and dear to my heart. But I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and we'll get started. I don't want to take too much time. Thank you.
My name is Irene Armendariz Jackson. I am born and raised in El Paso. I am a 49-year-old wife of for 26 years of my loving husband, Bill Jackson. He's a Border Patrol agent. He was actually stationed in Clint Station when Ocasio had the audacity to say that women were made to drink out of the toilets, and she is a liar. I can attest to that. And I have a golden streak with 5 women up in Congress. And this is personal. This is personal. When our laws are not protecting the most vulnerable of the citizens, from the babies in the womb to our elderly, to our veterans, to our law enforcement agents, to our children in the schools, it's time for the people of the United States, moms, dads, I'm looking for warriors that are willing to step up and fight for your children. What are my qualifications? I have a fear of the Lord, and I know His Word, and I know that from Genesis to Revelation, it has a plan for prosperity, for health, and this country was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. It's time to take that back to the halls of government, not only at the national level, but at the local, at the state, and in Congress and the White House. We are so blessed to have the president that we have. And the best thing that you can do elect our citizens and co-sponsors bills that actually protect the United States of America. That doesn't always mean pouring money here, pouring money there. If we have a wayward child, do we give them more money so they'll get off of drugs, so they'll get off of alcoholism? Of course not. For every line item that we propose, we should take 2 away. Our budget is bleeding us dry. At what point are we going to say this is insanity? We've been doing this for too long. The best thing that we can do for our nation is the prosperity of jobs, economy. What happens when you have a strong economy? You have dads that are able to provide for their families. If the woman wants to stay home and take care of their children, then she should be able. And if she doesn't, if she wants to go to work, that's her choice. And she should not be penalized for wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. That is a gift. That is a gift that my husband gave me. We have 3 daughters and 3 beautiful grandchildren. And I tell you what, I have been a warrior for our children. And they will tell you, and I'll share just a quick quote from my daughter when we dropped her off in college. And she said, "Thank you, Mom. Thank you for fighting for me." And that's what I want to do for El Paso. Fight for you.
Okay. This next section will involve, well, we got 5 questions, there are only 4 candidates. I don't know what we do here. We would have started with number 2, but since number 2 chose not to play, we will start with Jaime. And the first question, each of you will get a chance to answer the question. We'll just take turns on who answers it first. So the first question will go to Jaime. And then the next question for 2 minutes. If there is a rebuttal, it must be a factual rebuttal, not just for the sake of I want to get my 10 seconds, 40 seconds in. But if you feel there's a factual statement that needs to be corrected, then raise your hand and I'll call on you, and you can just respond very quickly to whatever that factual question is, okay? So the first question is this. In order to reduce the federal budget, what areas will you focus on to adjust?
Reduce federal budget. Where can I start? Oh man, foreign aid is a big one we need to get rid of. That's essential. That is a big one that's costing us a lot. Not only that, but 2, research. There's a lot of research that's actually not correctly being funded that we still pay into. FDA is one of the big examples. We pay a lot of money into this, yet it provides very misleading information, even as a medical provider. Many times I don't get the right information from them. Let's see, the other things, foreign aid, foreign wars that are not leading anywhere. It is concerning to me with the fact that we're sending warriors somewhere else. We're sending American lives to lose their life for something that doesn't benefit us in our country. We need to bring back the mentality of taking care of our people first. Let's stop taking care of other countries. As a nurse, I learned one thing that was real important to me, is you take care of yourself before you take care of anyone else. That's what we need to do that. We need to focus all this money and bring it back to our country. We need to make sure that we look at balancing our budget, and we need to make sure that we decrease this $20 trillion debt that we're getting into, because pretty soon China will own us if we continue in this path. So we need to make sure we decrease a lot of these non-essential services that are currently being funded, and a lot of time move them back to the private sector. Private sector has proven that it is essential and can do even a better job than the government does. I worked for the government many times, and let me tell you, many things privately can be done 20 times better than the government can actually do it. The government is set to give us guidelines and to protect us. They are set there for specific jobs. They are not set there to provide hand and mouth to every American citizen. They are there to provide for the essentials to ensure that every American has a fair and equal chance to continue to live in this glorious country that we have. Thank you.
I'll repeat the question. In order to reduce federal budget, what areas will you focus on to adjust?
And like Jaime said, there's so many places we can do that. First thing, you look at all the waste that government has, because we have so many 3-letter agencies out there that we don't need. One of the agencies that we have the biggest problem with right now, where a lot of waste is the Department of Education as well. We need to get into like school choice. I think that's very important, because our kids aren't being educated now. They're being indoctrinated by the system. Hillary Clinton said that, well, it takes a village to raise a child. The village isn't responsible for your children. we're responsible for our own children. That's probably one of the first areas I would start. The other thing on foreign aid, there are some necessary evils with foreign aid, but there's a whole lot of it that we need to cut. Because what people don't understand about foreign aid is that not only is it coming through the Department of State, it's coming through the Department of Defense too. A lot of these countries are double dipping into the foreign aid package. We do need to bring that money back home, and we're seeing that with what the president did with the wall funding. One thing that Veronica has never mentioned about the wall funding is that it's coming out of the Corps Engineer budget. Most of the Corps Engineer budgets are done outside the United States. They're not done here in the United States. They do take care of the flood control in the U.S. and all our dams, levees, things like that. But a lot of that money was going overseas. We can cut that budget under DOD and move that money into another area that we need it, like Social Security, Medicare. Medicare and Social Security are a big issue that I have too, and I'm down to no time.
Okay, next. Irene?
My answer is very simple. Number one, defund Planned Parenthood. Defund the United Nations. I do agree with the candidate that fled that we do need to get out of the United Nations, and not only get out, but if they don't start respecting the United States, there's no reason why we should allow them to be in our land. We know why they're here. They want to go shopping in New York. They want their diplomatic immunity. I don't think so. So those two things, we are supposed to be a sovereign nation. Nobody tells us what to do. And if they're going to want our money, then we get to tell them what to do. So defund Planned Parenthood and defund the United Nations.
Definitely something that we were talking about, education. Education definitely happened in every kind of education. Could be charter schools, could be public schools, could be parochial schools. But everyone has their own interest. But the interest number one for me is to defund the illegals. Stop to give money to the illegals. I went there directly in the other country last week, and let me tell you, it was a lot of line of people that would like to immigrate, which is people from Cuba and Africans. 6 attorneys that were given to each one of them more than $2,000 cash in order for them to go, claim for asylum, and then if you would like to come back, come back. What happened with that money? Is your taxes, my husband's taxes, your taxes, and my taxes. We need to put a stop to that. Because it's money that it goes to another countries, they're not our friends. And we need to put a stop to that. We need to take care of us first. America first, El Paso first, District 16 first. Thank you.
The next question, Sam, you'll be first. This question is, what qualities and experience do you have, and how do they qualify you to be our U.S. Congressperson?
Okay, in Iraq and Afghanistan, I've done reconstruction projects for the United States government as I was in the Army. They give me a lot of idea of where our money's been going. And we do have to bring it back home, just as Blanca just said. And I think because I've worked for the government, seen the bureaucracy and the waste, I understand better how to cut that waste. Because I had a commander, and I'll just bring up a point, when we were in Iraq in 2008, 2009, that because he didn't like the furniture, because of his pay grade, he got to replace it. $5,000 went out the window for a desk. Then he had a desk there that was fine. This is the stuff that does happen in our government every day. And if you haven't worked in one of the bureaucracies, you won't see that. And I think I have a better light on that because I had to deal with that system. And being enlisted, you're not going to see the same thing that the officers saw. I see Webster Hall back there hiding. Anyway, that is one of the biggest issues that we have is that waste. And the only way to cut it is to get to it.
Right. Do I need to repeat the question?
Yes, please. If you could actually just, you know what?
I think I lost
Just
my
next.
question.
Okay.
Just thinking.
I'm sorry?
He wants to hear it.
Yeah, could you just
Oh, you want to hear it again? I will when it's your turn. No,
He wants to think about his answer.
What qualities and experiences do you have, and how do they qualify you to be a U.S. Congressperson?
The number one quality, again, is that I have a fear of the Lord. And we have a man in the White House that definitely has the fear of the Lord. And second thing is he has been a business person all his life. I have been in real estate handling multi-million-dollar deals. Within the first 6 months that I became a real estate agent, I was a multi-million-dollar producer. I am a negotiator, and I can tell you that the man in the White House knows how to negotiate. So I want to represent, and I know I have the tools. I am a native of El Paso, just like Jaime. I speak both languages fluently. I know the culture. I know what it takes to win, and I have a strategic plan to defeat Veronica Escobar, and I have a message for her. Your time is up.
What qualities, experiences do you have, and how do they qualify you to be our U.S. Congressperson?
My qualities and experiences are in governing, adopt policies, and legislating. Since a board member of education, I learned, and I've been in Washington. As of last week, I went over there and I had an interview with our elected officials. You know who they are. And I went there and I was trying to talk to them and let them know that I needed funding, 100% funding for kids with disabilities, IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Intellectual Act. We need to fight for our kids that have mental disabilities. We need to fund for this 100%. Definitely what I like is legislate. I like to adopt policies. I love to adopt bills that is going to change El Paso future. Bills that are going to change District 16. Bills that they need to be allocated here in the District 16. Multi-million dollars that have been allocated in the school district that I've been over there. It's in the 4 years that I've been an elected official. That it comes to my hand, and I need to know where the revenue is going to go to our employees, to our students, to our teachers, to staff, and of course, in this case, to my Congress District 16. Thank you.
What qualities and experiences do you have, and how do they qualify you to be a U.S. Congressperson?
I'll tell you why I decided to run, actually, to answer this question better. I decided to run because for the last 10 years I've been taking care of American citizens, and it becomes very frustrating when you're not able to take care of people because the insurances deny it. You have the resources, but you're unable to take care of them, and people are dying. People are dying that I could have stopped taking from dying, that people that I could have prevented from dying, but instead, the insurances have been given the power to be able to kill people. And I think that is wrong. And that is where I bring my experience. I have seen the struggles of being an everyday American. I haven't lived with fancy insurance. I don't see this perfect palace and live in this great environment. I see the struggles that everyday Americans have, and yet no one's talking about it. And that's what I want to bring to the table. I want to bring a different perspective. I want to forget about these career politicians who live with a great insurances and never understand what suffering means through. I want to bring a new perspective to Congress that is approach on bringing Americans first, because that is what we are put here for. We need to remove a lot of these policies that continue to block the progress that American could succeed. My experience brings a refreshing aspect. It is not a career politician. I am not someone who's in here to try and make money. I'm in here because I want to take care of every single American that lives in this great country, because that is what we are founded for, and that is what, as a politician, we are meant to do. And as a nurse, I've been doing it for the last 10 years. Now I want to be able to help every single person that comes to this country. Let's have a refreshing start. Let's have someone that understands policy because has suffered it and has actually experienced it. Thank you.
Okay, Irene, you're first. And some of you have already addressed this, but this is your opportunity to focus in on it. The First Amendment addresses freedom of religion, speech, the press, and right to peacefully assemble. What is your position on education, including charter schools, school choice, and prayer in school?
Well, isn't it a great day to be in America when we have a president that says that prayer comes back to the school? have never been taken away. But something that President Trump has done for the community that wants prayer in the schools is he's emboldened a lot of people to speak out and start exercising their freedoms. Freedom of religion. Actually, our founding father said that if we ever take God out of America, the morality of this country will be depraved. And isn't that exactly what we have right now? We cannot continue to move in that direction. That is why I'm running. Somebody has to say no more, stop, and push back all these policies that stomp on our freedom of religion, our freedom of press, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of choice. As a parent, as a grandparent, I have fought for my children to get the education that they are supposed to get in this country. Why? Because we deserve it? No, because we pay taxes. And if you're not going to educate my children the way that they're supposed to be educating, then give me my taxes so I can find another place. So that's school choice.
Now, we read the question.
Yeah, read it again.
What is your position on education, including charter schools, school choice, and prayer in school?
School choice, definitely I'm pro school choice. Even though I am a trustee from a public school, I do believe that each one of us, we do have the right to send our students or our sons or daughters to any school that we would like to, any system that we would like to choose.
That's right.
Either it could be religious, either it could be public, either it could be charter schools, and definitely all of them, they teach you all the values that we need to. The only thing is, something that I would like to, still fighting for, is to put God's word. They need to pray before they start school in every school system. What's happening now? Because we ignore the Lord's name, and a lot of values is being lost, unfortunately. We need to go what happened in Austin ISD. I'm sorry, colleagues, that you are listening to me, but you know what I'm talking about. And I don't like it. And I'm not going to allow it in my school district as long as I am a trustee. I am over there for defend, to overview the education of our children, the principle to keep their morality, to keep the God's word over there, and how, please my Lord, help me. And you know that President Trump, as we spoke, I will do what I have commanded to do, to be vigilant for our students, for our sons and future generations that are going to represent our country. Thank you.
What is your position on education, including charter schools, school choice, and prayer in school?
All right, I just like it up here, that's why I keep coming up, okay? So, my biggest thing is choice should be essential. I believe that every parent that wants to be involved in their future of their children, and I say every parent because not all parents want to be involved, we want to make sure we give them the options to be able to have those choices, to be able to follow through with where they feel their child will receive the best education possible. We need to make sure that we allow those choices to happen. Freedom of religion is essential, and we want to make sure we preserve that. And we want to make sure that everyone is able to have the choice to be able to send their children to where they need to receive that education. But that includes homeschooling. We need to be able to encourage homeschooling and allow essential values that are missing in our country to come back. Because those are the people that are making a difference. And we need to encourage, not just a public school, but encourage a variety. Let me tell you one thing that Trump said that I really did like was the fact that he said that he's going to start incorporating more vocational classes into our schools. That is a great thing. Let me tell you why it's great. It's great because we're going to be able to fill in those jobs that we haven't been able to fill in. We're going to give these kids a better future because college is not for everyone, and college doesn't make you money anymore. When you have a partner that makes more money than a master's degree, there is something that we're missing. We need to push more for that. Let's push for those vocational classes. Let's push for those choices. Let's push for our tax money to be used the way that we want it to be used when we have kids in the school system. Thank you so much.
In rebuttal?
Just a real quick fact.
I would like to rebuttal.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to I'm sorry.
Just for clarification, our district, District 16, already has all those programs, and they are encouraged in the high school. I actually got my cosmetology license during my high school years.
I would like to rebuttal some seconds about what you say, homeschool. Homeschool is a great choice. It's a great choice, but let me tell you, the kids, they need to develop the social emotional system. They need to be the boys and girls. They need to grow up inside and outside. I do understand, but we as the parents, we have the obligation to be vigilant in the education.
We can get
Okay, hold on, you're straight for rebuttal.
Am I allowed to respond to my rebuttal?
Yes, very quickly, yes.
Oh, man, that's exciting.
Less
All
than 30 seconds.
All right, so first rebuttal to Ms. Irene. Ma'am, I do understand, that's where I got my nursing originally, but sadly not everyone has that opportunity. We do have those programs, but they're not readily available. And as a District 16, I am focusing on what's good for this area, but I want to focus on what's good for the whole country as well. And we need to bring that back to all of our communities.
Hold on, we're not can't get into a back and forth. Sandy, you haven't had a chance to answer the question, so you're next.
What was the question?
What is your position on education, including charter schools, school choice, and prayer in school?
Well, I know I just addressed school of choice. That goes without saying. One of the issues that we've ran across here, that we run across right here in El Paso with our school system in general, is the amount of money we're spending per student, because we have 9 independent school districts. 9 independent school districts in one county. We spend $1.5 billion a year on education here in El Paso. So think about that. We have 157,000 students, somewhere right around that, within our school system. The biggest issue that we have is that our tax dollars are being taken to Austin, and they're lobbying for dollars per student. If we went to one county, one district, we would only have to lobby the state for dollars for the entire county and make it equal across the board, because the dollars per student, each one of these school districts we have right now, are not equal. I did a comparison with our districts, our 9 districts, against one of the largest districts in the United States, which is the Miami-Dade district. They have 347,000 students. They spend $1.2 billion on education in that county. They also completely fund their teachers' retirement through the county. And they don't get a reduction like our teachers do here when they get Social Security age on their retirement. That being said, the Miami-Dade district kids outperform our kids here in El Paso by 20% on the ACT and SAT scores. Some of that goes back to the parents by not having the kids do their work, but there is something wrong because we're worried about building new buildings instead of using facilities we have and educating the kids. That's one of our biggest problems right here in El Paso, and that's killing our property. Everybody in here is paying property tax in some shape or form, even if you rent. We've got to do that to fix it. One county, one district.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. This next question, we'll start with Blanca. We're back to you. This question says, the Second Amendment addresses the right to keep and bear arms. What is your position on red flag laws?
Oh, the red flag. The red flag, I don't like it. I'm gonna answer the first one. I'm pro Second Amendment. I do believe that we have the right to defend ourselves, defend our family, defend our nation. And no one else is gonna come and take our Second Amendment that it was awarded by the founding fathers. It's something that I'm entitled to. The red flag, definitely I'm not agreeing. Because someone, my neighbor or someone, he comes, you know what? Mrs. Strauss, she got something over there in the house and maybe she doesn't like me for whatever reason. Enough is for her to go and say something about me. You know what, Miss Irene, I don't like it. And then you're gonna say something about me? What happened? They come and get me? I think it's totally unfair. I'm not agree and I will not approve, but I'm totally Second Amendment. I do believe that all of us will have the right to Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Bravo! Bravo! Thank you. I'm a military wife and a military mother. Yes.
What is your position on red flag laws?
All right, I always like to say actions speak louder than words, right? So I am a pro-Second Amendment candidate, but I do want to tell you, I was actually the only candidate that went to both the House and the Senate hearing and actually spoke in our Second Amendment rights, because we want to make sure we focus on bringing that back to our country. Thank you. Not only that, so on red flag laws, I have a very big concern with it. I love research. I'm a research person. I love logic. Red flag laws have a very big flaw. They do not require evidence, meaning that you're able to make accusations without the evidence part of it. The concern part of that is it creates a witch hunt system, and we've already gone through that in America, so we don't want to go back to that. And second of all, it boggles down the system that's supposed to protect us. So if we have a boggled down system and we're not able to take care of the people that actually are concerns, then how are we going to have these law enforcement officers do their job? Red flag laws do not protect, but rather delay. There is a different system that was created by the American Surgery Association that states that we incorporate medical professionals into the justice system, more specifically mental health specialists, to ensure that we can actually provide good, adequate evaluations without removing guns from those who are non-violent, such as depression, anxiety, but still keeping the ability to be able to assess situations and eliminate the target before it happens. Let me tell you, that research as well showed that the removal of guns was not the answer. I love research. Research says that we need to better associate and understand the situation of these individuals. Why? Because people kill people, not guns.
That's right.
And that's what we need to focus on. Let's bring back research-based, and not only that, let's eliminate this whole ridiculous thing that we can't use federal funds to do research on gun safety. How are we supposed to protect our country and make legislations if I can't spend the money that taxpayers pay to take care of themselves? That just makes no sense, right?
That's right.
Thank you.
Sam, what is your position on red flag laws?
Red flag laws are the first step to the government taking control of every aspect of your life. That's why it's listed so high on our Bill of Rights, because you're not going to get on the boxcar, they say, if you got a gun, because you're going to fight back. We have no way, once the government gets involved and takes your guns, you have no way to defend yourself against the tyranny of government. That's exactly what this country was founded on. Our forefathers founded this country on freedom. And if you lose your right to defend yourself, you will lose your right to be a free individual. And that is how, you look at every one of these dictators that was out there, what did they do first to take that country over? They disarmed the population. It started in the early 1900s is where it really got bad with the Armenian genocide. Then we got into the Bolshevik Revolution, and then World War II with the Nazis, and then we saw it with Pol Pot and Cambodia.
That's right.
So I'm an avid gun owner, and I believe one of the biggest issues with guns is that people don't understand that they're a tool. The heart is what kills, not the gun. The gun doesn't operate itself unless it's in somebody's hand, right? And if you are a sane person and you decide you're going to go, or you're mad and you use that, that shows you're not very responsible with that type of tool. Because you can do the same thing with a rake, a hoe, a shovel. We see this every day, and the statistics show that guns aren't the biggest killer in the United States.
Thank you. Irene, what is your position on red flag laws?
Well, it's not just red flags. Any control on our Second Amendment or any of the amendments is wrong. That's why our forefathers wrote it into the Constitution, because they knew that there was a danger of this happening. Now we got to understand the history of the Second Amendment. What happened? Why is it that we have the Second Amendment? Do you all remember a phrase, the British are coming, the British are coming? Was it because they were scared of their shiny red coats? No, it was because they were military and they had military weapons. One of the things, and the only thing that I agree with the last congressman from El Paso, that I don't want to give his name, but we all know who he is. He said that automatic and semi-automatic weapons are made for military use. Exactly. That is why we cannot have any infringements on the Second Amendment or any amendments. It is because if the government becomes tyrannical, what are we going to walk out with our little revolver? What do they have at their disposal? They have the military. So I believe that if you want to and you have the funds to buy a tank and put it in front of your house, you should be more able to do it. And if the government ever comes after you, guess where the neighbors are going to run to? You, because you're the one that has the big weapons. So any control on the Second Amendment, I'm against it. Bravo! Bravo!
Okay, Jaime, you get to be first. And this is a particularly important question to those of us here, because it deals with the border. What is your position, and how do you define border security, immigration, and as part of that, where do you stand on Dreamers and DACA?
All right. Okay, so first of all, I want to make this clear. I'm a first-generation American, so I actually understand and suffer through the part of being an immigrant because there's a process to it, okay? First of all, I have actually clients who have taken care of down in Clint, San Elizario. Let me tell you, they say they actually do like the fact that the wall barrier was built because it protects them from having people coming over into their property. So I see the benefit there. But I do feel that we need to make sure we need to continue to fund those Border Patrol agents. We need to continue to fund the technology that's protecting our border because we need to be, we can have the best wall, but we need someone to man it. And that's essential. We need to continue to provide that funding. And when we have representatives like Veronica Escobar who vote against funding Border Patrol agents, it's concerning, right? I mean, they are taking care of it, but they don't want to vote for it. And not only that, but we need to make sure that we stop rewarding illegal immigration from coming over into our country. And why do I say rewarding? Because right now, if you come in illegally, you get put at the front of the line in the trial. You get put in the front of the line, your paperwork gets processed first. But what about the people who are doing it legally, who've been waiting for the last 17 years and have spent $100,000 on trying to become U.S. citizens? We need to make sure that we shorten the process. We need to make sure that we make it more affordable. Thank you. And we need to make sure that we stop rewarding illegal immigration and reward those who come in, want to assimilate. Let me tell you, I remember going to English classes because I didn't learn English till I was in 8th grade. And I remember going to English classes with my parents. That was our weekend outing because we wanted to assimilate to the country. My father's a mechanical engineer, my mom's a nurse, so they actually came to the country and succeeded. Why aren't we talking about those stories? Why are we always talking about the bad stories? Thank you.
What is your position and how do you define border security, immigration, Dreamers, and DACA?
Well, border security is necessary. Walls stop people from coming in. They stop them from coming into your house. It's the same thing with doors. If you want to come into this country, you need to come through the front door. Any type of immigration system that we have has to have controls on it because we need to, it's our country. We can determine who we want to come and who doesn't come. Now with the border wall, you know, if you want to look at the private border wall that was built out in Santa Teresa, that is the standard that we probably should build the wall to because I can tell you we used 12 foot tall concrete walls to secure the green zone in Baghdad. Did it keep everybody out? No, but it was a definite deterrent. And we also had to man that wall to even make sure that we still didn't get more people coming in. We also use electronic surveillance. We have that stuff. We can do surveillance out on the border to do that, to catch these people as they're coming across. But the wall, a lot of people don't realize, doesn't set on the border. It's back off of the border. So once they're in the United States, just because they got to the wall again, doesn't mean that we are responsible at that point for them being in the country. And the first thing that they can do is go out and ask for asylum when they get detained. We need to stop that. They need to come through a port of entry to claim asylum. Or we need to make it available within our embassies, because right now it's not available at an embassy to claim asylum for a third country. You have to do it inside the United States. My son-in-law is here now. He is a legal immigrant from the United Kingdom. It costs around $2,000, I think it was, to get his application and everything processed. It's not that expensive. Granted, everybody doesn't have it, but it still needs to be done properly.
What is your position and how do you define border security, immigration, Dreamers, and DACA?
If we look at our founding documents, the number one function of the government is to provide for the tranquility of its citizens. And we have to protect our nation, the sovereignty of our nation. I don't understand why in El Paso we're having a conversation about a wall when a Democrat Congress member built an 18-foot fence that has worked. But it's not just the fence. We have to actually enforce our immigration laws. Because my husband's a Border Patrol agent, it kind of gives me a little bit perspective to understand our immigration process. And so I say, if you think our immigration process is broken, which the Democrats and Escobar champions, tell me what part of it is it broken. We are a sovereign nation, we have our laws, we have the right to enforce them. Not you that are from a foreign country are gonna come and claim asylum at any point that they can cross the river when there is laws. Like Samuel was saying, they're supposed to seek asylum at a port of entry. Why are we allowing them to come in droves through different places? Now, as far as the DREAM Act, I think we need a resolution. It's not good for us, it's not good for them. Put the ball in their court. Let them make a decision, follow the process, go to the back of the line, pay the money, but make a decision.
Right.
What is your position and how do you define border security, immigration, dreamers, and DACA?
Border security, I'm going to start with that. Definitely I'm pro-wall. I do believe the wall is been working. It was not working so many years ago. Right now it's working 85%. It will be end up, whenever the wall will be finished, it will be working 100%. Definitely, I don't believe what's going on. A lot of human trafficking, a lot of lives are being losing, and a lot of little kids are sex, unfortunately, for the sex trafficking. We need to avoid that. We need to stop that. We need, right? We need to stop to give the money to someone else who doesn't deserve. We need to feed America first. We need to feed our city first. Now, talking about the law enforcement, my husband here is a CBP, Custom and Border Protection Immigration Officer. Thank you very much for your service, honey. And for all of you guys who defend and who are in the line of duty, thank you very much because you guys risk your life a lot. Definitely, we need to fund more law enforcement, police officers, DEA, FBI, border security, all of them, they do receive ICE, they do receive funding. We need to provide allocation in order for them to defend our nation, to defend our country, to defend District 16, El Paso, Texas. We are here, so many feet away. Unfortunately, predators, them are right over there. Now, what do I think about the DACA and the rest of it? Definitely, I would like to move a bill as soon as I be chosen for Congresswoman. Is the first thing that I will do is to speed faster the person who applied for immigration, applies for citizenship, and they would like to come here legally. Definitely, they've been waiting in the line like, I don't know how many years did they pay already their fees. We need to legalize all the people so they can contribute with the economy of this country. So that's the first thing that I will do when I've been chosen for Congresswoman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, due to the luxury of the fact that we have a little extra time, since somebody chose not to participate, I'm going to choose a question from the pool of questions that we didn't know if we would get to or not. But I'm going to toss it in, and I guess this would be Sam. Are you next? What are your goals and priorities? How will you champion them? And I would like to throw in a personal inquiry. Where do you stand on term limits?
Well, I'll answer your first one. I believe that term limits are necessary. It keeps career politicians out. 12 years back. I even look at it on the Supreme Court. People should not be sitting on the Supreme Court as a lifetime appointment. It says good behavior in Article 3 of the Constitution. Well, not showing up to work is not good behavior. Like a current justice we have right now. She's been in and out of the hospital so much. The rest of the question was right.
What are your priorities when you get
My biggest priority, and I think I opened that with my opening statement, was on our veterans here in El Paso. because we're not getting the care we need. Our closest VA hospital is 4 hours from here. And with the clinics now servicing illegal immigrants, that's another issue that we have to overcome, and we need to make sure that's not happening, that our veterans get taken care of.
Thank you. Irene, what are your goals and your priorities when you take office, and where do you stand on term limits?
Well, it brings me back to the reason that I'm running. A country that kills 65 million babies since 1973 in the womb of their mother cannot be a country that expects prosperity, whether it's in the family or in the economy. Our children are being murdered in the womb, and then we wonder why we have an economic crisis. They would have grown up to be doctors, teachers, pastors, lawyers, builders, whatever your profession is, law enforcement agents. But now we don't know what they will grow up to be. My number one priority, my non-negotiable is life. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, number one is life. We need to get to DC, and we need to cut the head of the serpent that has been seducing the American people with lies. And my number one priority when I get to Congress is I want to propose an amendment to the Constitution recognizing the baby in the womb as a person. Person is a key word. Amendment 5 and 14 will protect it. And what do they say? That nobody can be denied of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without due process. That's right.
What are your goals and priorities when you go to Congress, and where do you stand on term limits?
My goals and priorities are to finish with this illegal situation that has been going on right now, that really affect a lot to our country. I would like to issue a bill that definitely regularize all the people who apply for citizenship or residential here, make them legal so they could pay their taxes like we do. So they know what it's the cost to pay for another country, people who doesn't belong to this country. So that's the first thing that I would do. Definitely to issue a bill to help all the people, they applied already for citizenship or residence, try to speed the limit in order for them to be legalized and contribute to the economy of this country. And the second one, in term limits, I'll no more than 4 years, I guess, for good or bad, unfortunately. Yes. Unfortunately, this could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. What's going on now in the abortion? What's going on everything in the illegals? We need to put a stop to that. And that's why it's because it's term by term by term, and this is an endless point, so we need to put a stop to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up here. All right. What's my biggest priority? The American people is my biggest priority. Why do I say that? Because we need to make legislations, but not only make legislations, let's push away legislations that put American citizens after the politicians that we've elected. We need to make sure we focus on America first. First thing we need to go up there is, let's not focus on making more policies. Let's focus on taking away policies that have infringed on our rights. Patriot Act, Section 215. Let's make sure we take that away. Let's make sure we take those things that make it questionable and allow insurances to kill people on a daily basis. Yes, I want to make sure that we bring the values that America was founded on to be those of priority of our country. We need to bring the American dream to be the main part that we are focused on. Term limits is directly connected to this because we have politicians that have lived there their whole life. They don't understand what being an American is like because they've never been out here. So we need to put term limits on them. We need to eliminate career politicians, which I've already said like 5 times, I know, I'm sorry. But it is something that we need to get rid of. Why? Because they continue to make legislations that help their friends, legislations that help their businesses, legislations that help the lobbyists. And lobbyists are funding these individuals. And what have I learned as a business owner? Let me tell you, I've learned that someone who gets comfortable, gets too comfortable and knows how to make extra money in their job. So we need to make sure we remove them before they become comfortable enough to where they are not doing what is best for the American people, which is what the priority of anyone and every candidate should be. Put yourself after the American people. The American people are in charge. Thank you.
Okay, we've reached the end of our questions. Does anyone have a specific rebuttal on something they heard one of the other candidates say that they want to address? You each can have up to 30 seconds if there's a specific item you want to address. Anybody?
I just got one.
Oh, man.
Talking about the technical careers.
Yes.
We already have it, and in our school district, I think in the other ones, them are already funded. We have already increased the technology and the technical careers, which is a medical, which is engineer, which is aerospace, which is legal, which is aeronautics, which is agricultural. So them are already being funded, and them are already for all of it. Since I went to Washington, I had the opportunity to speak with our elected officials.
Okay,
and we're
time is
talking
up.
about that. Thank you so much.
Ivan?
All right, I'll just repeat my same thing. I understand that, and I do understand because I myself came from a vocational class in high school, but my concern is that there is people in this country who don't have access to that opportunity. And I wish everyone in this country had a equal playing field and had the same opportunity that I had to be able to provide a great life for my wife, who I've been married to over 8 years. So thank you so much.
Okay, Senator Henry? No. Okay, I want to thank, obviously, the candidates for participating enthusiastically in this. We're going to have closing statements in a minute, but we also want to thank you, the audience, because it's important for you to be here, to hear what these positions are. It's important for you guys to make an informed decision. You know, our goal is to make a determination of which of the candidates has the best chance to knock Veronica Escobar out. That's our goal. So, after the 3rd of March, we will all coalesce and join in supporting our candidate, our duly elected candidate. One of the mistakes that unfortunately people make sometimes, they say, well, if my candidate didn't win, I don't care anymore. And what you're doing is voting for the other candidate, the other party, when you do that. So hopefully none of that happens. The other person I want to recognize and thank is Dr. Carmen Graham. Where are you, Dr. Graham? Right there. Dr. Graham is a member of the Board of Trustees of EPCC. Thank you for letting us use the facility. It's a very nice facility for this. Okay, we're going to close it tonight with our closing statements. And each candidate is allowed 3 minutes. And I guess, Irene, you're next. So you will be the first one to give your closing statement. At 2.5 minutes, Bill will give you the 30-second one. So please.
Thank you very much for being here. And it is a great day to be a Republican in El Paso. One of the things that we're bringing to the campaign is we've been working for over a year before I even made the decision to run for office. We've been working with the people that have not heard the message, whether it's because of a language barrier or because they're just not informed. And we are taking it to a populace that we as Republicans are waiting for them to come to us, and we're going to them. Bravo. And this is a great day because the brand new voter base connected with the Republican voter base is what's going to get us the win, not only on March the 3rd, but also on November the 3rd. I am number 6 on the ballot, the Republican ballot on the primary. I need your vote. And I know that I am the only candidate that has a strategic plan to get Veronica out of the seat and never let her come back or any of her kind back to represent you and me. No more. Again, the message is, your time is up.
Hey, come on.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. First of all, I want to let you know that I'm pro-all, that I'm pro-life, pro-family, education, mental health, law enforcement, and I'm here to serve you. It's a very honor to be here in front of you. Like I said, my strong point is to legislate, to make policies, to make bills, to be up there where I need to be in order to allocate all those millions of dollars here in the District 16. That's what we need to do. And first of all, like I said, fightwithintegrity.com. You can always go and watch me and see www.fightwithintegrity.com. That it talks about my values. Thank you very much. Like I said, first of all, I'm American, I'm a Texan, and I am a Republican. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna miss this top little area here. So just to bring this up, I want to make sure that we all leave out of here with an informed decision of what we're gonna do. That is a priority, and I love these forums because it allows people to make a decision that's informed, not just based on what they feel, but to actually be able to understand what the candidate protects. And I hope that we can see that. I want to make sure that I repeat some of the important things that I brought up. I'm not a one-issue candidate. I am not a career politician. I am someone who has literally seen the suffering in the streets and the houses of our American people and wants to make a difference. We need to make a difference for our country. We need to bring America back. We need to bring America first. We need to make sure that America continues to be the top dog and that we don't let anyone take that spot from us. We need to focus on making sure that we get elected officials who can actually go out there and compete. But before we even talk about that, elected official in this primary that can actually beat Veronica Escobar. So how do we do that? We focus on people who are bilingual. We focus on people who are fluent. We focus on people that can connect with those voters that have not voted in the last elections. Last election, 182,000 people voted. That means that we have almost 600,000 people that are registered to vote. We have almost 400,000 people that we could get those votes for, but we're not getting them to them because we're not connecting with them. We need to make sure we get a candidate that we can connect to them. I am that candidate for you. I want to be able to create that bridge that we have been missing to ensure that we get the proper representation for our city and our American citizens. Remember, I'm not just pro one thing. I am pro-America. I want to make sure that you get your benefits. I want to make sure you get your services. I want to make sure that you get taken care of before I get taken care of. Thank you so much.
Jam? Waiting on my name, right? You know, there's one thing that everybody, I think a lot of politicians forget, and when you get to an elected office, is that whatever our aspirations are on what we want to do in public office, that's not what it's about. That's right. It's actually about the people that vote for you, because the problem that we have right now is we have Veronica Escobar making decisions for everyone in this room, and she doesn't care what we have to say. She won't listen to the first person in here. It's all about her, what she wants. You know, I fought for this country on the battlefields of Iraq, Afghanistan, and Central America. I will fight anybody up there, and I will stand my ground for the people of El Paso. I retired here. I'm not from El Paso. I'll be the first one to tell everybody that. I'm actually from a small town in Florida. And I saw El Paso being run like a small town. And we see this cabal running in this city right now. And we've got to get these people out. We've got to put real people back into our government and not career politicians. Veronica is a career politician. But I'm the only one up here that has run against her before. I ran last time as an independent write-in, which is a serious underdog at that point. And I did a ton of research on Veronica, and I knew how to get under her skin. And that's the one thing that we all have to do in here, all of us candidates, is get under Veronica's skin. And that's the real ticket to beating Veronica, is because once you rattle her cage, she doesn't know what to do. And I think everyone up here has a chance to do that, and we need to continue to rattle Veronica's cage.
You know, I'd like to point one thing out that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but almost nobody went over their time. That shows that they're not politicians. I encourage everyone to hang around. I know the candidates will hang around for a while. If you want to go one-on-one, ask them any questions that you have. I'm sure they will be happy to. We probably have to get out of here by 9 o'clock, but we have a few minutes to do that. And before I turn the mic back over to our chairman, Ms. Ches, I want to express my thanks to Adolfo for all that he's done for the party for the last couple of years. He's worked tirelessly, and it's sometimes a thankless job. I know it's a painless job, I know that, so we appreciate his efforts, so I'll let him close the evening. Thank you, Adolfo.
One of the things I should have done right off the bat, and I'm going to do it now, is we have a few other candidates here that are running for other offices, and I would appreciate if you would all come forward. There's a couple, I think, in the left.
There, he's hiding.
Phyllis, Randy here. Phyllis, okay. There's a young lady, Phyllis Martinez Gonzalez, that is running for the 3rd Judicial Court. That's Children's Court. And she has been I can't remember the exact title. She's been a judge for 6 years already. Now she's running for that position. And I was hoping I should have introduced her at the beginning because her daughter was here with her, and I'm sure they had to leave because of that. So that was my fault. I apologize. But again, I do want you to look up her information. She was here. It would have been nice if you could have met her. Randy, you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Problem with the mic?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to take it off.
Oh, maybe I can talk loud enough without the mic. My name is Randy French. I'm running for El Paso County Commissioner of Precinct 3. That's the far east. I'll be running against Vince Perez or Ileana Houdini. When I win, because I am going to win.
Amen.
I'm going to be representing everybody in El Paso County. My decisions on that court affects everybody. And so it's imperative to tell all your friends, your neighbors, to talk about Randy French running as the only Republican for the County Commissioner's Court. I need your help. I echo what every candidate said here today. And believe me, you have a good bunch of candidates sitting in front of you. So when you make your choice, when you do make your choice for which candidate during early voting all the way up to March 3rd, whichever candidate isn't our selected candidate, they're going to jump in and support the selected candidate. And I'm asking for each and every one of you to do the same thing. And I'm also asking for your support. I think I said that earlier. So, if anybody has any questions, you can go on Facebook or go on the web. You can find me. It's Facebook is @Randy 4 with a capital F, EP, both of them capital. @Randy for EP, and that's how you'll find me. My email address is pretty long, but ask anybody who's around here, they'll know how to get a hold of me. I'll be happy to answer any question you got. If I don't know the answer, it gives me a chance to be better able to beat Vince Perez or Ileana. And I'd like to echo the thanks for Adolfo Paz as the county chair, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be running. So.
Two things left. Again, I want to thank Ray, because Ray did an outstanding job today. I also want to thank the four of you. It's always a matter of getting in front of here and getting in front of the people and putting yourself out there, and that's a tough thing. And I've been watching you during this whole process, all of you, and you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I want to thank Bill Hicks. He's counsel for the party. He's been with us for quite a while, like I say, longer than me. He's done a great job for us, and he did a great job tonight. Bill, I appreciate you doing that. Thanks very much. And I want to thank every one of you. We've got too many people in our community that don't take a lot of time to learn who the candidates are and what they believe. We need to teach people to look at the values of the candidates, because we are a conservative community. And there's too many people that represent us that aren't conservative at all. They're very liberal. and that concerns me, but it's an education process. You need to take the time, you need to visit with your neighbors, and not tell them, just ask them. You ask them, do you believe in this? Do you believe in abortion? Do you believe in family? Do you believe in an economy that gives you an opportunity? Or do you believe in handouts all the time? And when you start asking those questions, they will start to think. But it takes each of you, all of you, when you get a chance, do not be embarrassed to talk about politics. It's a good thing, not a bad thing.
That's right.
And you're the start. You're here, that's great. And the last thing, second to the last thing, I'm a candidate also. The chair of the Republican Party. Thank you. The chair of the Republican Party is elected. I'm all the way at the bottom of the ballot, okay? But don't forget, I would appreciate your vote also. And again, thank you and good night.